principle of intention to create legal relations refers to the parties' subjective intent to enter into a legally binding contract. It addresses whether the parties intended their agreement to have legal consequences. Here are two examples of cases involving the intention to create legal relations. Case 1, Balfour v. Balfour, 1919. In this case, Mr. Balfour worked in Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, while his wife, Mrs. Balfour, stayed in England due to health issues. They agreed that Mrs. Balfour would remain in England, and Mr. Balfour would send her £30 per month as an allowance. However, when their relationship deteriorated and they separated, Mrs. Balfour sued her husband to enforce the agreement. The court held that there was no intention to create legal relations between the spouses. The agreement was made in the context of a domestic relationship, and the parties did not have the intention to be legally bound by the arrangement. The court emphasized that not all agreements between family members give rise to legally enforceable contracts. This case exemplifies that in certain domestic or social relationships, such as between spouses, there is a presumption against the intention to create legal relations unless evidence suggests otherwise. Case 2, Edwards v. Skyways Limited, 1964. In this case, an airline employee, Mr. Edwards, was informed that he would be made redundant. The employer, Skyways Limited, offered him a severance package amounting to £4,000. However, before the offer was formalized, the company withdrew it. Mr. Edwards sued for breach of contract, arguing that an agreement had been reached. The court held that there was an intention to create legal relations in this case. The severance package offer was made in the context of employment, where it is presumed that agreements are intended to be legally binding. Despite the absence of a formal contract, the court found that the offer, once accepted by the employee, created a binding agreement, and the employer was liable for breach of contract. This case highlights that in commercial or employment relationships, there is a presumption in favor of the intention to create legal relations, unless it is clearly stated otherwise or the circumstances suggest otherwise. These cases demonstrate the importance of the parties' intention to create legal relations in determining whether a contract exists. In certain relationships, such as familial or social ones, there is a presumption against legal enforceability. However, in commercial or employment contexts, the presumption is generally in favor of enforceability unless evidence suggests otherwise.